This is the data ranking change of Radiant items in version 14.1 on January 14 compared to version 13.25. Firstly, it's noteworthy that the overall pick rate for Radiant items in version 14.1 has increased by 0.35 compared to version 13.25. There could be multiple reasons for this change. Due to the new version, more players are trying out the updated effects of Radiant items, choosing more Radiant Augment items. The newly introduced Raising the Stakes mechanism makes acquiring Radiant items easier. Personally, I am more inclined to believe it's the second reason. Despite the overall increase in pick rates, we also notice that in terms of average ranking, win rate, and top 4 rate, most items show a certain degree of decline. In this context, let's see which items performed outstandingly. In terms of damage-dealing items, due to the significant enhancement of the Radiant Death Cap, it has become a high-tier version of the Radiant Giant Slayer for mages, not only increasing in pick rate but also significantly improving its effectiveness. Radiant Archangel's staff also performed excellently, especially since this version has strengthened many suitable pieces for archangels, such as Twisted Fate, Karthus, and even Vex, resulting in a 0.09 increase in the ranking data for Radiant Archangel. In terms of utility items, Radiant Thief's Gloves is also a widely favored item by players, both in augment selection and as a reward after completing Heartsteel stacks. It's a powerful aid for frontline units and warriors. With 0.23 players using Radiant Thief's Gloves per game, achieving an average ranking of 4.09, it continues to hold the top spot among all Radiant items. Radiant Moralonomicon, although slightly inferior overall to the previous version, saw an increase in its pick rate. Its win rate may not be high, but its stability remains very good. Interestingly, when comparing Radiant Moralonomicon to Radiant Red Buff, since the red buff had some nerf and Ginsu's added 25% attack speed, the gap between these two, which was only 0.05 in the previous version, has widened to 0.20 in this version. In terms of frontline items, first, let's talk about Radiant Ionic Spark. With its straightforward way of adding 400 extra health points, its average ranking improved from 4.08 to 3.96, making it one of the star items of this version. All popular magic damage backline, especially AoE-type pieces, need a frontline unit with Radiant Ionic Spark. However, not all items could maintain excellent performance in the new version. As we mentioned before, overall, the ranking performance of Radiant items in this version is noticeably worse than in 13.25. For example, Radiant Redemption, Radiant Bramble Vest, Radiant Even Shroud, Radiant Thorn Mail, and traditional defensive items like Radiant Dragon's Claw, all regressed by 0.1 to 0.3 in ranking compared to the previous version. I believe the poor performance of these traditional frontline tank items is related to the weakness of traditional frontline backline compositions in the current version. Twisted Fate, Karthus, Ezreal, Caitlyn, Akali can bypass the frontline and directly attack the backline, and these pieces have been more or less strengthened. The only exception is Radiant Stoneplate. I suspect the performance of Radiant Stoneplate is closely related to the strength of the Vex plus Amumu Executioner system in this version. Radiant Stoneplate provides excellent single-item defense support for Amumu, making him more resilient on the battlefield. As a result, Radiant Stoneplate, without any numerical adjustments, has seen a significant increase in ranking, moving forward by 0.24 places, directly entering the sequence of the most popular Radiant items. Finally, I hope this analysis of Radiant items can provide more guidance for everyone in choosing Radiant items. See you in the next episode.